welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new. I'm Sky and I'm so happy that you're here for this one. So my original plan for this week's video kind of ended up taking a turn, and I'll explain why, but I am so excited to announce that we are finally going to start renovating our half bathroom. Today's video is part one of a three-part series. We're gonna be talking about the design plans for this space, the overall aesthetic that I'm looking for, where I sourced my inspiration, and just all of the fun, exciting pieces that happen at the beginning of a home project. The next part will come next week, and we are gonna start in there with some of the texture that we're gonna add to the walls. I've already started ordering some of the pieces, like new lighting, some different hardware pieces, a new mirror. So by the time that we film that video, those pieces should have arrived. We're also going to be selecting my wallpaper in that video. So that's gonna be really exciting. And then the third and final video will be the wallpaper installation. It will also feature decorating that space and adding all of the finishing touches, and then I'll share a before and after of the complete transformation. I am so excited about this, and I can't wait to bring you along. I hope that you will subscribe if you haven't already, so that you can see each episode and really tag along for the process. It should be lots and lots of fun. It's been a little minute since we did a DIY project, and if you've been around for a while, you know that this one has been kind of on the back burner for a while, but it has been something I've just been anxiously awaiting and really excited to do. As I was kind of going through and looking at sources of inspiration and designing, I realized that it's such a small space that we are in a place right now where we can tackle this project. And so we're gonna go ahead and move forward with it. We're going to take a few weeks to get this project done, whereas in the past, we'd usually set aside one weekend, and that can be a lot, especially on my sweet husband. So we're gonna tackle this together, and we are gonna take our time, and it's gonna pay off. I know that we're gonna love it in the end. So to kind of start this video, I would love to bring y'all into our half bath, show you what it looks like today, kind of walk you through or talk you through my plans for that space, and then we'll sit down at the computer and I will show you my design board and some of the areas where I've gotten my inspiration from for the bathroom. So thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and hop into our half bath. Before we take a look at what this half bath looks like as it is today, I wanted to pop in a little bit of footage and show you what it looked like when we first purchased this home. So of course we did some minor upgrades. We did have the floors sanded and then had a poly coat put on them to match the rest of our home downstairs. And then we also had all of the walls painted. We swapped out the pedestal sink and the lighting that was in there. So we made a few initial changes. And now I'll walk you in here so you can see what it looks like today. So one of the biggest changes was getting the pedestal sink out and replacing it with a different vanity. Now, this vanity is originally from IKEA, and I currently don't have any plans of swapping this out. We used to have this same vanity, different, but the same vanity in our last house, and we loved it. It's very functional. It has deep drawers with tons of storage. It even has some organizers in there. What we did do though is we did swap out the faucet. Actually, I'm not positive that it came with a faucet. It may have come with the silver faucet, but we wanted to swap it out with something that was a little bit more our taste. Now, I did just wipe this off and there's some bubbles on there, but I love this faucet. This one is by the same brand that made our kitchen and our laundry room faucet as well, and just the detailing that is on this. I love the hot and cold, but I love how worn the brass looks. It has more of a vintage or antique look to it, even though it is brand new. So that was the first change that we made to the vanity itself. And then we came down here and changed out the hardware to match. This hardware is the same hardware that we have on our kitchen cabinets. And it's beautiful. It also has kind of that antique brass finish to it. So that is what we went with for a quick upgrade that was pretty inexpensive to our IKEA vanity. Then I came in and added a little bit to the walls. Not much. You can actually see, if you look closely, there is a smudge on the wall. We fixed a spot on the wall and have yet to paint it, and then realized that we were going to do this project and decided just to wait. So this is the mirror that I have in this space. This one is from Target. It's part of the Hearth and Hand collection. And I love the mirror. I just wish that it were a little bit larger. If I back up here, you can see how high the light fixture is set on the wall there. This was already here. The light fixture wasn't, but the electrical and everything was already that high, so we decided just to go ahead and put a light there. I have selected a new light fixture for this space because I wanted something that was more of a statement piece. And I feel like the glass gets a little bit lost when the light fixture is up so high. Now, I also am going to be replacing this mirror and either selling or repurposing it somewhere else in our home because of the size as well. I'd like to find something that fills this space between the new light fixture and the vanity a little bit better. I have loved this piece of wall decor for a long time. I actually had it in our last half bath. It was something I purchased at Target, but it's probably been 2 or 3 years now. It's a piece that I think I'm gonna go ahead and keep. I may use in our daughter's room. She has more of a boho style in our room. So I think this could look really pretty up on her wall. So we are going to be removing that. And now we're gonna look at the toilet. Doesn't everybody love to talk about toilets? We're gonna get a little closer because I want you to see the detailing that is on the lid of this toilet, and I know it's gonna be a little hard to see. It's just very outdated, and so I would like to replace the lid and find something just a little bit more fitting to the style of the space, even if I end up grabbing something that's just totally plain and more sleek. I think that it'll look a little bit better. I'm not a huge fan of, can't even tell, I think it might be like leaves possibly on there, so not really digging that. Another thing that I want to change is the toilet paper roll holder. That's a mouthful. This one was a very simple and affordable one that I found, I believe, on Amazon when we were searching, and we were kind of just in a hurry to make some decisions and selections for the house before we moved in, and that one just isn't my favorite. I'd like something with a little bit more character. And speaking of towel holders, we're gonna swing over here for a second. This one is from Hearth and Hand, and I have a couple of these hooks in our home. It's not gonna go with the overall theme that I'm trying to achieve in this space, so I will be removing that and, again, either repurposing it somewhere. Honestly, these are so inexpensive. I think they run usually around $5 or $6. So I tend to just kind of keep a collection of things like this for any future projects that we might have or any other space that we might be able to use it in. Over here on the wall, I have this beautiful wooden rolling pin shelf, is what it's called, I believe. And I love it. We used to sell this in our shop back when we had it, and it was one of my favorite pieces that we sold. I haven't decided yet if I'll end up using this piece in this space, but nonetheless, it has to come down in order for us to do our walls. And then just for the sake of putting something in this corner, I have this little cute plant chair stand that I am using. Again, that will definitely be coming out as we start working on this space. do want to bring you along and show you kind of the process of how I start to design a space. It can look really overwhelming or feel really overwhelming when you're walking into a space, say you're buying a new home, or maybe you're looking at a space in your house and you know that you want to do something, you know that you want to make some changes, but you just have no idea where to start and it just all feels like too much. I understand that. I totally get that. So I wanted to share this design process that I go through when I am trying to design a space in our home or in somebody else's home. That is kind of what we're going to be working on today and what I'm going to share with all of you. So the first thing that I recommend is find your inspiration. Inspiration can come from all over. It could come from outdoors. It could come from your friend's house, a store you shop in, a book you've been looking at, a magazine. It can come from, of course, the new latest modern way of finding inspiration, I feel like, or modern day way is online. So through Instagram and Pinterest. Make sure that you are taking screenshots or saving those photos or taking photos outside or wherever you might be and just gather those inspiration photos for your space. It could be just inspiration for one particular piece of wall art, or it could be inspiration for the entire design or for a rug or a piece of furniture, but gather your inspiration first. I usually go to Canva. Pit Collage is another great resource to use if you want to take a photo or multiple photos of your space, and you can actually kind of stage the space and do the walls how you want them and those kind of things, and make it kind of come to life to be able to better visualize it if you are a visual person and you kind of need to see it in that way. For me and this particular space that we're working on, I'm going to use Canva and I'm just going to create a design board. Now, if you want, you can use one of their templates. You can go to the mood board option that they have available. You can just search in the search bar mood board, and so many different options will come up, and that kind of gives you a starting place. I do have Canva Pro, and so I pay for the extra, I'm not sure how much it is, honestly, a month to be able to remove the backgrounds of images and things like that, so I can get a really good feel of how everything looks. So I have already done that, and I want to pop up some of the photos that I have found to be very inspiring, and I'll share their sources on here as well if you want to dive a little bit deeper into these accounts and check them out. I'm currently very inspired by the European style. I also like mixing some farmhouse and some cottage. So finding those ways to incorporate all of those different styles together into one is something that I'm looking to do in this space. I love the more antique feel. I love the adding of texture onto the walls. I want to give this room some interest, and when you walk in, you're like, this is a little bit different, yet it does still go with the same theme of the house, and it does flow, but it has a lot of character. So that is what I'm kind of trying to channel in this space. Now I want to share some of the pieces that I have picked out for our home, and I will show you the mood board that I've created. So you're going to see some beadboard. I'm really excited to add some beadboard to the lower half of this room, and I shared in some of the photos that I just showed y'all where I've sourced some of my inspiration, some of the different ways that beadboard could be placed or installed, some of the different ways you can trim it out. I've saved those so that I can go back and look at them as we're really planning this out and getting ready to make our purchases for the wood and the trim and things like that. I also have a wallpaper selection on my design board. So I am going to be working with Love Verse Design for this project, and I have selected 5 different samples that they are shipping. They should arrive shortly. This one is the one I think I'm gonna go with just off of my gut instinct. So I did go ahead and place that on my design board so that as I'm putting different pieces on here, I can kind of see, okay, does this go well? Does this not? Does it fit the color palette, the style, and things like that? I did put an Anthro dupe mirror. This is not the Anthropologie mirror. My budget does not allow for that. However, I love those mirrors, but this is a more affordable option. I also put a new light fixture. As I spoke about, I want something that is elegant yet antique looking, that flows well into our breakfast nook, which is actually where I'm sitting right now. We have a new light fixture in this space that has those linen shades on them, so I kind of wanted to tie things in from this space moving into that space that's right next to it. Then we've got our vanity that I kind of just took a picture of, removed the background, and kept that in there so I can keep that in mind as well as I'm choosing my selections. I have a new towel holder that just has some really vintage accents to it. It feels a little bit more cottagey, and so I'm really excited about that. And then I would love to find kind of a European style, like, I think they can also be called like milking stools, depending on what shape you go with, but something just really pretty, and then maybe adding some pottery or a European style jug or planter on top of that in the corner where I currently have our little chair or our little stool. Then I'd love to add some vintage artwork. I'm actually thinking about adding, and we'll see how things go as we kind of progress, but I'm thinking about adding this over the toilet. I may do 2 stacked photos, we'll see, in some really pretty brass frames. I would love to source those from an antique store, but we'll see what I can find. And then I definitely want to add a rug to kind of ground the space and warm it up a little bit. And this was one that I had found as I was searching. Not positive if it's what I'll end up going for, but it gives me a jumping off point to kind of start looking for things that would be in that similar family of colors and patterns and textures and whatnot. So this is what I have so far. Thanks so much for being here for this video. I hope that you found this one to be a little bit helpful, getting to kind of see the behind the scenes, the planning process, talking through my selections and how I go about creating a design board. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them down in the video description below. I'd love to hear what you think about this project and what you're most excited to see. I can't wait to see y'all in the next one where we install our beadboard, and then the final installment, which will be the following week, where we will install the wallpaper. I'll share that entire process, and also the new light fixture, the mirror, any decor that we're going to be doing, all of the decorating. I just can't wait. So thanks again for being here. I hope you'll tune in for the next one. Bye, friends.